So a new documentary just released. It's called Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV. And basically it explores all of the dark stuff that was going on while making these Nickelodeon shows. This one talks about Brian Peck, who is a dialogue coach, doing inappropriate things with Drake Bell. And he even went to jail for 16 months for it as a convicted SA person. And then after he got released, he immediately signed to Disney or something, which is actually just sad and hilarious at the same time. Anyways, this guy called Dan Schneider is at the center of it, and he's the guy who produced all these iconic shows, right? Like Drake and Josh, Victorious, Zoe 101, iCarly. And this guy, Dan, would always just be the ultimate creep. There's basically a bunch of viral videos going around on Twitter right now about Ariana Grande just doing really weird and inappropriate stuff as instructed by her creep producers or directors. And basically all of these videos are just really creepy sort of innuendos. And this is when she's literally a kid, right? Basically, they'll tell her to do really like weird innuendo type shit, like sticking her finger in her mouth. Another, she's talking about some random comparison with the ocean, talking about being soaking wet. Then in another one, she's drinking water upside down on the bed and then spills it on herself. And then probably one of the worst ones of them all is where she tries to squeeze a potato and says, "Give me the juice." And it's obviously, like, anyone can tell that that's not a joke directed at kids at all. That is a joke specifically made for his fucking weird ass fantasies. It's so messed up. I don't know. He was obviously insinuating the potatoes of dick, right? Anyway, so after this documentary came out, Dan Schneider actually responded in this sort of interview video with Boogie, and people are just kind of not listening to him at all. They just want him in prison, and it's basically a PR interview, right? They're trying to make him look as good as possible, but he still comes off extremely bad.
Hey, it's Boogie. I played T-Bo on Nickelodeon's iCarly. I got a chance to watch the Quiet on Set program, and I reached out to Dan to see if it was something that he'd be willing to discuss. Let's talk about the massages.
Okay.
Watching the content yesterday, it was disturbing.
It was wrong. It was wrong that I ever put anybody in that position. It was the wrong thing to do. I'd never do it today. I'm embarrassed that I did it then. I apologize to anybody that I ever put in that situation. And even additionally, I apologize to the people who were walking around Video Village or wherever they happened, because there were lots of people there who witnessed it who also may have felt uncomfortable. So I owe them an apology as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so he just says, like, sorry a lot in this video, which is, you know, fair enough. Like, that's pretty much all you can do at this point. But I think this guy legitimately needs some solid prison time. Like, he is an actual creep. It is well documented. There are way too many instances of him making these kid actors do extremely weird shit. And dude, there's no excuses for this. You are a full-grown man, and you pretty much knew exactly what you were doing. Okay, let's not try to dance around this whole bullshit acting like, oh, it's just comedy for the kids. Like, shut the fuck up.
Dan, talk to me about the writer's room. From what I saw, not cool.
No, and I don't mean to cut you off, but if I can cut right to the chase, let me just say, no writer should ever feel uncomfortable in any writer's room, ever, period, the end, no excuses. Most TV writers, comedy writers have been in writers' rooms, and they are aware that a lot of times there are inappropriate jokes made and inappropriate topics come up. But the fact that I participated in that, especially when I was leading the room, it embarrasses me. I shouldn't have done it. It hurts my heart because I should have. And I wish I could go back and fix that.
I mean, he's talking in such like general terms, which is why I don't think it's genuine at all. Why don't you specifically address, like, pull up the clips, bro. Pull up the clips and specifically address them one by one. That's what you need to do over here. Like, because, like, what am I supposed to do seeing those videos? Like, what was the context behind what you had people like Ariana Grande do? Like, it's so freaking creepy. It's not a joke if it's a kid. It's just you being a massive creep, having her do lots of, like, sexual stuff on camera, dude.
In the writer's room, there's no doubt that sometimes those jokes went beyond the pale, and I said things that went too far or made practical jokes that went too far. And that was wrong. And that was because, I was an inexperienced producer. I was immature. Wouldn't happen today. But I'm just really sorry it happened.
Oh yeah, that's a lovely excuse right there. I was inexperienced, guys. I was just immature, obviously. As I said, sorry just really doesn't cut it over here. We need a full explanation of each and every individual clip, and you need to prove that you weren't just being a perverted freak, which I don't think you can do, honestly, after seeing those clips. I can't, honestly. Now he goes on to talk about stuff that people don't really care about, like him being a pushy director, which was not like the allegations, like whatever, the work conditions can be bad, but the main allegation is that you're a freaking weirdo.
I would snap at people sometimes. I would be snarky when I could have given them a nicer answer. I would not give people the time that they needed. I would be in too big a hurry to get on to the next thing I had to do. And watching that show, there were so many times I wanted to pick up a phone and call some of those people and say, I'm so sorry, and let's talk about it. And I wish you'd had a better time, and I wish I could have shown you a better experience.
Yeah.
Amazing. You've totally answered the question that everybody was asking. Like, dude, nobody cares that you're a harsh director. Well, that is completely minuscule compared to the child creeping, dude, and the conditions you had these child actors work in. You gave them some serious freaking trauma. I feel like he's just shifting the attention elsewhere over here so he doesn't get cornered into something. And this interview is literally the only purpose is to make him look better.
But currently where we are, some people think that some of those jokes are inappropriate for children. What do you think of that?
All these jokes that you're speaking of, that the show covered over the past 2 nights, every one of those jokes was written for a kid audience because kids thought they were funny and only funny. Okay? Now we have some adults looking back at them 20 years later through their lens, and they're looking at them and they're saying, I don't think that's appropriate for a kid show. And I have no problem with that. If that's how anyone feels.
Dude, what are you talking about? You're telling me all that stuff was written for a kid audience. That's right, guys. When I was a kid, nothing made me laugh harder than a girl just squeezing a potato and saying, "Let me get the juice out." That is some kid humor, like, gesturing like a hand job. You know what you're doing, you absolute degenerate freak. I'm sorry, what are you talking about, bro? Written for a kid audience. That is absolutely crazy. There is no way anyone is going to let you get away with that claim. That is absurd.
Okay, there were many, many levels of scrutiny, okay? We had executives in LA. We had executives in New York.
So two coasts.
Two coasts
Okay.
of approval, yes. And by the way, approval at every stage, really.
Okay.
And I'm talking about wardrobe. I'm talking about makeup, sound, sets, dialogue, jokes, everything.
Now, when you say approval, obviously that's a hierarchy, not your colleagues or
right.
people in the room. Okay.
No, not my colleagues. No, these are my bosses. Bosses, and then their bosses, and then their bosses.
Okay, so this is just a classic case of shifting the blame again. So he basically says over here that, hey, I'm not the only creep writing and approving the stuff, guys. I'm not the only creep over here. Everybody else greenlit this too as well. There were so many other adults on set. Oh, the parents should have said something if they had a problem with it. Oh, my bosses made me do this, whatever. Well, first off, they need to be investigated too. Second off, you just stood by the jokes in this interview over here. You said that they were created for a kid audience. So decide, was it for a kid audience, or were they actually like creepy jokes or whatever? And I don't know if this next part is true or not, but I think the general sentiment was that Dan Schneider was this mastermind, right? Basically, nobody dared to actually go against his word regarding anything, which is why all this stuff kind of slipped through. And people were figuratively there to like challenge him and stuff, but he really got the last say. At least that's what people have been saying all around. So I don't know if there were like higher ups over who approved this stuff, but I don't know, man. It's coming out of your head, isn't it? Aren't you writing? Are you the one writing all this shit? So I don't know. Now, it turns out in this next part, Ned's Declassified has come out of nowhere, okay, and is going viral over here because he's making jokes about the situation. I know I just said I don't like drama, but immediately opening TikTok to see the Ned's Declassified crew joking about the victims that are coming forward from Dan Schneider and Nickelodeon is crazy gross. I started recording after, yeah, we didn't have the same experience as some of the people who are coming forward right now in the documentary going around.
Coming.
Daniel, I told you.
Daniel, we told you never to speak about that. Get back in your hole, Daniel, and give me your holes. Sorry, we shouldn't joke about this. We really shouldn't.
This is awful. Why are we doing this?
Because this is about us. Listen, our set was not like that. And no, it's awful. The Drake Bell shit is that's crazy to hear. That is man. And that never came out, which is really wild. Really wild.
I'll tell you who was talking about it.
Boop.
Okay.
Oh, so y'all were in on it. Oh, God.
Damn.
Wow.
I'm not talking about this anymore.
No.
Not talking about this anymore.
No.
Guys, we can't joke like this. Jesus. Guys, we're sometimes humor helps us move through things,
Yeah,
you know?
100%.
We need Missy on the pod.
Yeah, that's just a really weird thing to joke about. Like, this is an actual serious thing over here, and you're cracking jokes, making light of it. Effectively just defending Dan Schneider in a sense over here. And turns out he immediately buckled and apologized. So sorry to Drake. Gutted I hurt you. I was being an idiot today. No way around it. I feel horrible that my dumbass was even speaking about this without seeing it. I watched Quiet on Set tonight, and I'm horrified by the gravity of what Drake and the others shared. Truly heartbroken about what my fellow actors went through. I can't believe they weren't protected. I'm sorry for compounding any hurt. Of course, it gotta be a note sap apology, right? People are not happy. The whole live was disgusting. You didn't just hurt and offend people from Nickelodeon. It's a slap in the face to anyone who has ever been sexually assaulted. You're sorry you got caught, Lamau. Damn, all I see is, damn, our podcast is dead now. And this is referring to Ned's podcast that he has with some of the other members. That show is actually really cool, man. I hate this. Never meet your heroes, guys. Absolutely never meet your heroes, because every single one of them sucks, except Pegasus. Pegasus is the absolute GOAT over here. Anyways, guys, moral of the story, Dan Schneider is a weirdo. The entire industry over there is absolutely horrible. A bunch of flippin' people taking advantage of little kids over there who don't know any better. And it's just sad, man. Anyways, that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.